immediately. In today's Legal on 4, pet owners need to be aware of the legal issues and understand their responsibilities when it comes to their pets. When you go out in public with your dog or you have people over to your home, you are responsible for your pet. Our legal contributor, Craig Wisnom, joins us now, and that seems pretty basic, that you would be responsible. So are there people who think that they're not responsible?
Well, it's probably surprising to the degree and how easily you can find yourself liable if your dog bites anybody, no matter what you know and no matter what you've done. Arizona has a strict liability statute about dog bites, and some states have what we call a one free bite rule. That means if you dog's okay and they're not mean, they're not vicious, and they bite someone, you might not be liable that first time.
But not in Arizona.
Arizona, doesn't matter what you know or how reasonable you are, you're liable if that dog bites someone. Maybe except for a burglar on your property, but as long as it's someone there legally, guests, anything else, you're going to be liable.
What about property damage? Are you also liable if your dog goes and rips up the neighbor's fence?
If you let them run free, yes, you can be liable for not only damage to people, but damage to property as well. So that's why you want to keep a leash on the dog, figuratively and literally.
You know, I've noticed that a lot of parks have started putting up signs that are really, really clamping down on keeping your dog leashed.
Yeah, and that is the law. When they're in a public park, public school, dogs are required to be leashed.
And what's the penalty if you're given a citation for not having your dog on a leash? Do you know?
It's going to depend on the specific statute, and sometimes there's additional city rules and things like that. But probably the biggest risk is that they do some damage or hurt someone and you're extra liable. But and in some cases, we're used to things in the law called assumption of the risk, which is if you go out roller skating and you break your leg, you can't sue them because you assumed something dangerous. And that doesn't even have to do with if someone's playing with your dog and something, even if you warn them and things like that. So unless they're provoking the animal and they bite someone, you're going to be held liable. So it's a big responsibility. You want to make sure that nothing happens.
That was my next question. What if the children next door are provoking your dog?
That might be a defense, but that's just about the only defense under the law is provocation.
And who would have to prove that?
Probably you would have to prove that as a defense. Someone says, hey, your dog bit me, you're liable. You have to prove that it provoked you. And so, of course, you want to make sure if you've got a dog, at the absolute least, in addition to being very careful and being aware of these responsibilities, that you've got homeowners or renters insurance that will cover you and insure you if your dog hurts someone, and have it covered for a sufficient amount that you're protected.
I wonder how many people have that addition. There are so many pet owners.
Exactly. You have to look at your policy. A lot of policies will cover them by default, but some might not, and you just have to make absolutely sure. You can't assume that's the case, because you don't want to find out not only do you get sued, but that you're not covered by insurance when someone could be really hurt. You're responsible for all the medical bills, pain and suffering, and we know what medical bills are like these days.
And if your pet is unlicensed and it bites somebody, is it tougher against you because the dog was unlicensed?
Not necessarily, but there could be additional statutes or code sections that you're violating because of that.
Okay, so let's kind of wrap it up for viewers. You are responsible.
You are utterly responsible.
If people come to your home and the dog bites them, not just because they're guests in your home doesn't mean that you're not responsible for them.
Absolutely, you're strictly liable. Very
clear.
And
same thing if you're out. And
if you're out, yep. If your dog's running free, you're liable for property damage as well. So keep your dogs in control. Make sure you're covered by insurance, and be careful.
Unless somebody provokes your dog.
Exactly.
All right, Craig, thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Well, now.